again, friends, and welcome back to my channel. My name's Amy, and I'm glad you decided to join me for this October book chat video. I hope you all are getting into the spirit of the season and looking at those fun costumes and figuring out what you want to be if you celebrate Halloween, and looking at the fun Halloween candy and treats, and listening to that scary music, and of course watching those scary movies. I myself am not necessarily a super scary person. I don't generally like to read the horror, thriller, scary books and movies. The scariest movie that I will watch this season is probably the Mummies movies with the three with Brendan Fraser. That's as scary as I will get. They're just not my genre, but I do have some books, since it's October, to get you in the mood of Halloween and get that thrill, chill, kind of creepy vibe. So without further ado, let's just jump right in. The first book that I would like to share with you is actually a series of books, and I think it's kind of definitely has the sort of vibe, eerie creepiness, not really creepiness, but eerie vibe, I'll say, of Halloween, and that is no other than the Sherlock Holmes mysteries. You want murder, mayhem, whodunit, this is your book. I absolutely love the Sherlock Holmes mysteries. It is exactly what you think it is. If you've been living under a rock, it follows this detective by the name of Sherlock Holmes. He lives in England during the Victorian era, or a little bit. I don't quote me on the exact dates, but that is the time period that he lives in, and he solves crimes from a murder to Hounds of the Baskervilles, where there's giant dogs. This book has it all. These stories are fairly short. I just have the collection series because that way I have them all in one go. But I feel the Sherlock Holmes is a perfect way to get into sort of the mood and the vibes of Halloween. They're not too creepy, violent. They don't really delve into the graphicness of the murder necessarily. Obviously people die in it, and they don't skim around it, but they don't get into the details of how bludgeoned he was to death. It just says he was bludgeoned. And that sort of thing. But I love reading the Sherlock Holmes mysteries. They are just a wonderful book to have to your collection. They always bring me such joy, and every time I read any one of these books, I try to figure it out before Sherlock Holmes, and I have yet to do that. But it is a fun romp through the English countryside, so if you are looking for a good mystery, I would definitely check out Sherlock Holmes by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. You're in for a real classic treat, I think. If solving mysteries aren't your thing, I want to introduce you to a vampire book that I absolutely love reading, and that is Immortal Envy by A.D. Justice. This is about two brothers who fall in love with the same woman, although I will pretext the brothers are vampires, so they have that going for them. So they have incredible strength and speed and hearing, and all their senses obviously are enhanced. This book, I will say, this book is not for the younger readers. There is mature content in here. and some of the brothers' victims end up unalived, and it can be pretty graphic, not extremely graphic, but I wouldn't recommend this to someone. I would call it a PG-13 rating or more, maybe a light R rating. Definitely not for the younger readers, but if you are wanting to get a little thrill up your spine, a little eerie unsettledness, I would absolutely encourage you to read this book. It is juicy. Has a very the eerie edge of your seat action. There is good drama between the brothers, and if you are wanting a thriller sort of a book with vampires, I would definitely suggest Immortal Envy. I mean, besides, look at that cover. Ooh la la. The next book I would like to recommend to you is one that I don't think gets a lot of love out there, and that book is The Shadow Revolution, Crown and Key by Clay Griffith and Susan Griffith. This takes place in Victoria, England, and there are werewolves on the prowl. And let me read the back to you because I can't really describe it because it's that good of a book. It says, as fog descends, obscuring the gas lamps of Victorian London, werewolves prowl the shadows of the back alleys, but they have infiltrated the inner circle of the upper crust society as well. Only a handful of specially gifted practitioners are equipped to battle the beasts. Among them are the roguish Simon Archer, who conceals his power as spell-casting scribe behind the smooth veneer of a dashing playboy. His layabout manner, Nick Baker, who prefers a good pub to thrilling heroics, and the self-possessed alchemist Kate, who is equally at home in the ballroom as she is on the battlefield. After a lycanthrope attack targets Kate's vulnerable younger sister, the three join forces with a fierce Scottish monster hunter, Malcolm Fairflame, who quickly discovers they're dealing with a threat far greater than anything they could ever imagine. So that is what it is about. I absolutely love rereading this book. Pardon me. It is an absolute joy. It kind of has the vibes of Sherlock Holmes, but not Sherlock Holmes. It's action-packed, thrills, chills, on your seat action. I absolutely love this book. There are 2 more books in this series, and if you love this one, you will absolutely love the other 2 books. I love this book. If you're looking for a more modern vibe to get you in the spooky season, then I am going to be recommending to you this next book called Obsessed by Joe Gibson. It says, Obsessed, you always love the one you hurt. This is about teenagers in high school, and I discovered this book at a thrift store and I fell in love with it. I really would love to read the others in this series, but let me read the back to you. It says, Michael is smart, sweet, and gorgeous, the total package, which is why some of the girls have decided to have a contest. Whoever hooks up with Michael first will be the winner. There's just one problem. One of the girls has been harboring a secret crush on Michael for years. She'll do anything to be his girlfriend. She'll play the game. She'll win his heart. She'll beat the competition to death. Michael Barton has experienced the dark side of love. He has survived the advances of the psychic stalker. He has endured her deadly game of obsession, and now he is free from her web of lust and lies. But Michael has a surprise waiting for him. His secret admirer is still out there, watching, waiting, plotting, plotting her next move. And if Michael thinks he can escape her this time, he's wrong. Dead wrong. So that is what it is about. This gives you all the feels and satisfies you in all the ways you want for if you like Scream or those type of movies. It is so good, and I am not a horror, Scream, whatever famous movies are out there that kind of are high schooly related. Told you guys I'm not a horror person. But I love this book, and so that is saying something right there. Also, come on, I'll do it because we all want to see me do it. Okay, I couldn't help myself. But if you are looking for a sort of modern, eerie take on it, I absolutely love this book. And I am not, like I said, a scary horror, thriller, murdery type of person. So if the back of that sounded good to you, I would highly recommend reading it because it definitely gives you the whodunit, who's after them kind of vibes. The next book I would like to share with you is another good book, and that book is called Coraline by Neil Gaiman. Coraline is, I first watched the movie before I read the book. I really liked the storyline of Coraline. If you were unfamiliar with this book or the movie, Coraline is an only child who doesn't get a lot of attention from her parents, and they move into this new apartment complex, and she kind of hates it. Nobody pays attention to her. She's kind of a loner, and one day she discovers this door that leads to a different world and or universe, however you want to put it, and she thinks that she found the mother lode. She sees things and stuff that just cater to her, and it's all about her and her being happy. But as all things, some things are not as good as they seem or appear, and something happens where she has to figure out a way to stop something bad from coming out into the real world. And it is just a good edge of your seat action book. I loved it. This book is definitely not for everybody. I think people either love it or they hate it. I'm on the side of love it. Again, I also love the movie. But if you're looking something different into the spooky genre, or you're trying to dip your toes into the spooky genre, I would definitely recommend Coraline. I think it is a good story to dip your toes into to see if you like it. And one of the last books I would like to share with you is none other than a very, very famous classic. Everybody knows it, and that is The Legend of Sleepy Hollow and Other Writings by Washington Irving. If you are under a rock, this is about a school teacher named Ichabod Crane, and he goes to a town known as Sleepy Hollow, and they are very superstitious, and as he lives there and teaches the children, he learns about a folk tale about a headless horseman, and he's a very superstitious person, so he takes things very seriously and to the extreme on some extent, and if this does not give you the vibes and the thrills of all Halloween, I don't know what will. I love this book. It is such a classic, and it just, I feel, embraces all that Halloween is. Also, if you have listened to a audiobook version of this story, I would highly recommend it. It is so good. The one that I listened to anyway also gets you in the vibes of it by having like noises of like the wind blowing, horses' hooves, people dancing, the clip clop of the horses' hooves. It so just envelops you in the story. Also, if you are a hard copy reader like myself, I just certainly get swept away in this book. It is a awesome book and definitely get you in the vibes for Halloween. And the last book I would like to recommend to you is not really at all a Halloween book, but I rep it all the time. And that is the book that I wrote, and that is called Legends, Orbs of the Elements. This is a high fantasy adventure story. It is about a young man named Leon, and he lives on the Western Plains with his family. And one day, a mysterious woman arrives at his door, and the information he gives him is pretty shocking to him. And she says that he needs to come with her on a quest, and he doesn't really want to go, but through circumstances, he is forced to go with her. Not forced, but he changes his mind about going with her, and they go on an epic adventure filled with heart-pounding action and magic and mystery and all kinds of new mythical magical creatures and people and places. So if you want to go into this epic world where there's lots of sword fights, horse riding, archery, all that kind of good stuff that you love about a fantasy adventure and wanting to get into fantasy, I would definitely recommend my book. Not just to recommend my book, but I think it is a good introduction book to fantasy. Easy to read, well paced. Again, this is the book that I wrote, but I love it. I put my heart and soul into this. I am currently working on my second book called Legends 2, Rise of the Soul Collectors. So if you read this book and want the adventure to continue with some of the characters, I am working on a sequel. But if you just want a fun action adventure story filled with likable characters, bad guys you just love to hate, I would definitely recommend Legends, Orbs of the Elements. You can be found on Amazon.com and BarnesandNoble.com. So that is all the video for today. Thank you all so much for watching. If you like scary stories and books, please let me know down in the comments. Or did one of the books that I recommend look good to you? Also, I'd love to know down in the comments. I am working on getting 200 subscribers. So if you are thinking about subscribing, I would highly recommend it. Because once I reach 200 subscribers, I will be doing a very big giveaway, and I will also be extending the parameters to Canada. So yay to any Canadian subscribers out there. I appreciate you all so much. And I will see you guys on a new video. Bye-bye for now, everybody.